When it comes to the Raw anonymous general manager, was there ever a payoff planned?
So that storyline, like who ran over Stone Cold when that happened, it was one of those things where, and I'm not saying this is the correct mindset, but the mindset was, we don't have to worry about who it is
Oh,
now.
you guys didn't know. I knew it.
The beauty is in the gimmick. We'll figure it out when it's time to figure it out. That does not to say that a lot of writers didn't have ideas, but I think Vince especially was just more. He became much more into the Michael Cole heat of reading the announcement than who was actually secretly making the announcement.
Oh, what an era.
And that manifested itself in this Michael Cole heel character that actually had a match, and I think he went over Jerry Lawler at WrestleMania.
Still undefeated at WrestleMania.
It was like, Jerry Lawler, wrestling legend, defeated by Michael Cole. It's in history books, etched in stone.
Who also, Jerry Lawler still doesn't have a win in WrestleMania history. Good Lord. Gotta love it, though. Booker T versus Triple H at WrestleMania 19. Why didn't Booker T get some shine?
So I don't know if you mean like shine in the match or why didn't he go over?
Why didn't he go over, I guess I should say.
So yeah, no, I talked about this a little bit too recently. This is one of those things where it was certainly considered, and I could say I was definitely a proponent of it because first of all, from a storyline standpoint, after everything, like Booker is the underdog in that match, and Triple H is the big bad, and after going through like this whole build-up to it, it's a satisfying payoff to see the hero defeat the villain in that particular case. But that was also, without getting too into the weeds, that was also a case of, at the time, it was very much like we got to make sure the things that we're spotlighting are, nothing takes away from that. So I know on that particular show, Brock in the main event was being crowned as the new champion, beating Kurt Angle, doing that crazy
Frog Star Splash, I believe.
Of course, I'm now. Yeah, thank you. And it almost ending disastrously. I know it was like the big culmination of Mr. McMahon versus Hulk Hogan, with Roddy doing a run-in. And whether right or wrong, I think the mindset at this time was like, well, this is the Raw title match that's like third, fourth to last on the card or whatever. It would get the moment would be lost in the totality of the show. If we pulled the trigger and made a new champion. Again, I'm not saying that was the correct decision or even one that I was necessarily in agreement with at the time, but I think that was the mindset, which was, let's make sure that the spotlight is, focused in this particular case on Brock.
And I know you've been asked this a million times, so I guess I kind of want to get specific, but when it comes to Cena and the heel turn, and I know you've said ad nauseum that, yes, there were discussions. I guess, was there a specific point where it was the closest to actually happening?
So, yeah, this is, and again, every time there's a really, really good question, that's when all hell breaks loose on 3rd Avenue right outside my apartment. I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, I think I'm trying to remember, there was definitely a height sometime, I think in between Edge winning the Money in the Bank contract and cashing it in on him, and before Cena versus Rock. So you're probably talking somewhere in the 2007-2008 era, where I know we as writers had reached the saturation point as far as John, as fans, would sometimes call Super Cena, coming in and winning all the time. So it wasn't even necessarily purely a reaction to the fans, or half of which were booing him anyway, so much as just from a writing perspective and a storyline perspective. Similar, in some respects to Hogan turning and joining the NWO, it would just be such a seismic shift that the television shows themselves can't help but get more interesting because, you really haven't seen this side of John since his, early rapping days when he would be, rapping at a graveyard and cutting promos on The Undertaker and stuff before he, became the whole chain gang, hustle, loyal, and respect guy. So it was probably during that time. I wish I could remember a specific angle or a specific time, but, ultimately it didn't happen. And I think there was just too much, outside of the ring at stake, for WWE to pull the trigger on it. But like I've said, John can do anything. John, you've seen him,
Yeah.
pretty much pull off anything in movies and in the ring. And it really would have been cool to see what would have happened.